Hey, I'm Chase, and this is All Things Random. Today, it's all about dive watches. Now, before we hop into the video, hit that subscribe button and give me a like if you like this video. It really helps the channel. In this video, we're going to be talking all about dive watches, what makes a dive watch, and why you would wear it and use it. So let's flip the camera around and hop right into it. Okay, so first let's start off with what is a dive watch. Well, they say, according to Wikipedia, that a dive watch needs three things. It needs at least 100 meters of water resistance. It needs to have some sort of device that allows you to count down, like a timer on a digital watch or a timing bezel, which is on each one of these. And it has to be legible in complete darkness for an extended period of time at 9.8 inches away from your face. Now, I had a diver buddy of mine ask me, what is an extended period of time? I would say for approximately 15 minutes, we'll extend it all the way up to 30 minutes. This is, of course, just arbitrary because there's no time given specifically. So let's go over these different watches that are considered technically dive watches. And we have a few different ones. We have a 100 meter, a 200 meter, we have two 300 meter, and then the Rolex Sea Dweller 3900 meter. Nobody's ever gonna go that distance underwater without special equipment like a submarine. So this is just extreme. This is basically what most of them are. Most dive watches are 300 meters or 200 meters like this. I wouldn't necessarily consider this a dive watch. However, in the category of dive watches, this is a 100 meter watch. So let's start out and go through each one and sort of describe what makes it a good diving watch and what makes it a poor diving watch. So you can see here, this is a Casio Course. This has, again, 100 meters of water resistance. Now, the bad thing about this watch, it does have 100 meters of water resistance. However, it doesn't have the ability to count down. It has the ability to count up and down because it has a non-clicking rotating bezel for timing. Now, this is a dangerous thing when it comes to dive watches, and I'll tell you why. Now let's pick up the Citizen right here, which is built specifically for diving. And I say that because not only is it a dive watch with 200 meters of water resistance, screw down crown, a unidirectional bezel, which means it only goes one direction, but it also has this awesome depth sensor. And you can see these two hands right here. It allows it to adjust as you dive deep. You can see in the chapter ring right here, it has the depth in meters. Now, why, when we're talking about bezels, do you want it to be unidirectional? Well, let's just say I want to count down the amount of time that I'm underwater. Let's just say I'm at 30 feet, we'll say 33 feet. I'm at 2 atmospheres, and I know that I need to go to my safety stop at 15 feet in 15 minutes. So if I want to set this for 15 minutes, I would put it right there. And then I could see that this is 10, 15, 20. Now it allows this hand to start moving along this red bezel. And if something happens, like this bezel gets bumped under the water, it won't go back this way, but it will go this way. Now, why is that important? It's important because at the very least, what you're doing is limiting the amount of time underwater as opposed to extending the amount of time underwater, because you have the ability to run out of air. You have the ability to stay at certain depths for only a period of time before it becomes a deco dive. Very important that the bezels on dive watches are unidirectional. Most of them are, except the first one. Now let's talk about these other dive watches. Now this right here is a Tissot Seastar. Now this Seastar is actually damaged. It's waiting to be repaired until things open up. You can see right here that the dial inside, I can say that this found itself traveling at a high velocity across a room, and smashed into something, but you know, the crystal didn't break. What happened inside is the movement, and dial actually shifted, broke this stem. So this stem needs to be replaced. Anything inside needs to be repaired, and everything shifted over. But this is still good for general overall talkabouts when it comes to watches. So this is a chronograph dive watch. Most dive watches aren't chronograph because it just offers more spots for water to seep in. This is only 300 meters. It does have a helium escape valve, which technically doesn't really matter on a watch this size, because you don't have to worry about things like the crystal popping off or anything like that, because, you know, most people are only going 60 feet, maybe 100 feet. So you're definitely not going 300 meters under the water. So this is an example of something like a dive watch that's a chronograph. This Tissot Seastar is very thick, however, and for 300 meters, it has literally the same thickness as this 3,900 meter Sea Dweller. So when it comes to diving watches, you can wear something large. This is extremely legible underneath the water. We'll take them out in the ocean and we'll get some shots under the water so you can see what each one looks like in a later video. Of course, a Rolex Submariner has a lot of classic design. This needs no introduction because most people know what a Submariner is. Offers 300 meters of water resistance, a unidirectional bezel, and it offers a very slim case for the 300 meters. Now, most dive watches in today's world are about this size. And I say that because a lot of people use the Submariner as a sort of a stepping stone into the dive world. A lot of actual watch companies do the same thing. You'll see a lot of designs look just like the Submariner. Again, this needs no introduction. And then, of course, you have the Rolex Deep Sea Sea Dweller, which has a lot of cool stuff in this watch. However, most is never going to be needed. And I say that because, again, nobody needs to go 3,900 meters under the water. Nobody will scuba diving. And this is just Rolex flexing its ability to create a watch that isn't so huge that it's overwhelming on the wrist, but it's them creating something that just has the durability and toughness to do it. Has that nice dome crystal. If I remember correctly, I think this crystal is something like 5 millimeters thick. It uses that original gas escape valve, which is right here, and it has the ring lock system so the crystal doesn't pop out. Does have a helium escape valve. I mean, just imagine 12,800 feet. That is literally the size of a mountain under the water. That's just crazy. Now the last and final thing, the Lume, which is number 3 when it comes to a dive watch. Well, I can tell you that nothing compares to the sun. On a bright sunny day outside, I walk inside and my Rolex or my Citizen or anything else just shines so bright. I could never get it that bright, even with my Phoenix flashlight, which I have here. This is what I use on patrol. It is 1800 lumens. It's extremely bright. This is what I'll be using to replace the sun. The first thing we'll do is the Casio. While I turn off the light, and then we'll get an idea of what it looks. You can see in the background, all the dive watches are already starting to shine, and all I did was shine it on this. So the Casio, not really that great. It's hard to focus in because there's just not a whole lot there. Now let's talk about the Citizen. Let's go over the Citizen. You can see that I literally only had the studio lighting here, which is 60 watts. And you can see all these are shining pretty brightly. So let me just light it up real quick. Boom. So there it is. It's got a little bit of charge. And you can see that it shines bright. Now to the naked eye, it's not nearly as bright as what the camera's picking up. However, it is still extremely bright. You can see right here that the one thing I love about this watch is the fact that the depth hands are different colors than everything else. So there's no confusing where you're at under the water. You just have to realize that every indice equals 5 meters under the water. So because you can't read everything specifically, the indices do shine bright. The hands shine bright. I'm just amazed at how good the Lume is. And you can see that it shines pretty bright also. Now this just has a small seconds hand. So, you know, you would never use that anyway. However, the pip shines bright if you were to adjust it, and you would be able to see this very clearly under the water. So first we'll do the Submariner. Boom, and you can see that nice ice blue. Everything is uniform, shines perfectly, and it just looks great. The one thing I really love about Rolexes is the fact that they shine at night forever. Forever. I mean, not necessarily forever, but we're talking a good 30 to 45 minutes, and it's not this bright, but it can easily be seen in a dark room, easily. And last but not least, using the same type of Lume is the Sea Dweller, exactly like the Submariner. Everything nice and uniform, just super bright. And this thing just, again, shines for a long period of time. So what's important when you're picking a dive watch? Well, clearly it's functionality, it's water resistance, and what are you truly using it for? If you guys are looking for dive watches, this is just a quick introduction. Again, different price points. This Casio is about $40. This Citizen ProMaster Diver is anywhere from $400 to $500. This Tissot Seamaster was just under $1,000. It's gonna cost me probably $400 to repair. And then you have something like the Rolex Submariner, the black Submariner, no date, retails for about $7,800, and it goes up from there to include the LV or the limited version, the Hulk. And then of course you have the Rolex Sea Dweller on the used market. This Sea Dweller I think goes for about $9,800. So different price tiers for everybody. So whether or not you want low end or extremely high end, there is a watch for everybody who wants to get under the water. Now, if you like videos and videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see next. Got plenty of videos coming up in the future, so hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I drop my next video. Until next time.